Okay, so based on the
I was a little late anyway.
based on the perspective lecture that we learned from Jessica last week, objects have either a single vanishing point as you reach the horizon, or they have double vanishing points, depending on how many sides there are to the object. So what does that mean? That means that we identify first, where is the eye level horizon? Like if I was looking straight across, where is it? And it really, in a scene like this, in a landscape, it's often where the land ends and things start to move up, right? These mountains are moving up. So the eye level horizon is right here. And when you're drawing a building, the building has sides. Here, I'm gonna sketch this out in like red. I think it'll be easier to see. These sides these are not parallel lines. These are lines that all come to a single vanishing point, which is located on the eye level horizon. You see that? So depending on where you're standing, the bad news is every single one of these logs is like at a slightly different angle, right? But the good news is you can figure it out pretty easily because they all should go to the same vanishing point. And I'm doing these on this side because this is one side of the house, whereas this is the other side of the house. Now, in this particular case, the vanishing point's actually off the paper. You can't really see it. So I sketched it out so we could see what happens. So in this particular case, yep, there's the bottom. The bottom is angled up. The roof line is almost straight. And this roof line, the top of the roof line here, is angled down to all meet here at vanishing point number 2. Got it? So because that's happening, that's how we figure out what these angles are. We figure out, like, if we drew them to a point, where would they all meet along the eye level horizon? These are not parallel. None of them are. None of them are the same angle. This is angled up. This is almost straight. This is angled down. Angled up, straight, angled down. These are not parallel lines. This is what people want to do. They want to draw them as parallel lines. They are not. Your verticals are always straight up and down. So that is a straight up and down line, but everything else is going to be angled as it goes away from you towards the vanishing point. So that means when I get this guy up here, the first thing I'm going to do is find my, and if you want more on that, I really want you to watch Jessica's lecture on perspective.
It was a very good lecture.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was like super helpful. She talks a lot about 1 and 2 point perspective. So here is our eye level. It's maybe 1, 2, 3, a third, maybe even a little bit smaller than a third of the way down the page. This is our eye level. That's this line right here. And then when I start sketching in my house, my barn here, I'm going to start, let's see, I'm going to start with the line in the middle. It comes a little bit below and a little bit above. I'm just drawing this line in here, right? It comes below and above it comes below and above the eye level horizon. And then I'm going to see what happens. Where do these guys meet? If I were to draw these all, right, where is the single point where they meet? So that means this is the angle of the roof, and this is the angle of the base. And then this line, which is in the middle, is kind of, it's almost straight. It starts right above the eye level and it comes down to this single point. So every angle will meet at this vanishing point. And the good news about that, actually, I want to bring it out a little bit here. Yeah, there we go. So now I can draw, I know it's a little bit hard to see here, but here's the side of the house. Is that right? One, a little bit shorter. Right, here's the side of the house. Here's the upper roof line. And then here, about here, is this roof line. And then, yep. If you want to, you can give yourself another piece of paper. Is that right? One, it's a little bit more like this. Out a little bit more. Here. We'll do this again. I'll get this piece of paper out here. So if you want to, you can add another piece of paper. There's my horizon line. I'll scoot this over in a second so you can see what I'm doing. So the mistake people make all the time, there we go. The mistake people make all the time, here we go, is that they think these lines are parallel. Like this is the same, and then this is the same, and this is the same. None of these lines are parallel. They all angle at different places. Yep. And this is slightly above, so it's got a slight angle, but not really huge, that comes to here. And then this one also. So there's my roof. Yeah. Oops, sorry, went too high. It goes like this. The angle goes like this. Yep. So and then I can draw a straight line down like this and a kind of angled line out for the roof here. Got it? It's kind of crazy. This line doesn't come up any higher than here, that point. So let me take a picture of this. And let's see how you do. Let's see. Take a picture of this. Come on. There we go. And each of these lines also is going to that same vanishing point. So if you want to get into the sort of loggy cabinness of this, you can if you want, you don't have to. Each of these lines is also going to the same vanishing point. So you can see that I'm just kind of keeping my ruler. Yeah, that's about right. I'm keeping my ruler at the same point here and just bringing it up here. And then there's a doorway. So all the verticals lines in a perspective in a building drawing are straight up and down. They don't angle. They're just straight up and down. So there's the doorway. Here is another sort of a window. Interesting, actually, maybe that goes out. I'm erasing the top of this line here.
Hey, Leah,
Mm-hmm.
is the angle that's on the very left, the roof, you know, the back of the house?
Yeah.
That's heading toward the horizon line?
Uh-huh.
That doesn't represent the roof line, right? Because it looks
this
totally
one?
different than the picture.
Sorry. This one?
Yeah,
No. The roof is kind of in, is
Right,
a little
okay.
bit more angled down. It's a little bit more steeply
Gotcha.
angled down. Yep. There you go. So you may or you may not understand what's going on here. I'm not going to spend more than the time I've spent on it really explaining it. But if you want to start handling, right, understanding how to handle buildings, getting that there is the one side and the other side, and everything in the building on this side kind of goes to a single vanishing point, and everything in the building on this side goes to another.
okay.
That is another single vanishing point on the eye level horizon. That is really, that will help you, that it really helps in terms of figuring out kind of where things are. The roof line still should go, I've covered everything up now. Here, hold on. Let me look at the original picture. Yep. There's also probably some funny camera angle stuff happening. The camera's probably tweaking this a little bit because cameras don't look at things like the human eye does. So this is, you can actually correct this a little bit. Rebecca, still, everything should go to the single vanishing point, including that roof.
Okay.
It should all meet. And if it doesn't, which it kind of looks like it doesn't, you correct it so that it does.
I was just
So
going to-
that's
I was about to
how
ask about that, 'cause that roof looks wonky.
it does look a little bit wonky. So this is how you correct it. Oops. Yeah, and of course I've drawn it in a bunch of times. Let me erase and see if I can get this in. So the roof goes down pretty dramatically, and that means the bottom of the building on this side comes up to that same point. So what changes a little bit is the angle of this to get that roof, this side of the roof to meet. These two sides should meet in one single vanishing point. And that's probably a problem, and that's a problem of the camera. So this is where you get to kind of correct the perspective of the camera. Oh, those mountains. I was just thinking how much fun those mountains are going to be. It's good that we've done mountains, right? And go ahead and send this in when you're ready. But you'll also want to sketch in just the outer shapes. These are pretty simple shapes, actually. Here, actually, let me go back to the black and white so that we can see it. You're going to add in the mountains. So one of the things that we learned, kind of, this is the foreground. In perspective, is that the camera is not an accurate depiction of what's happening. The camera is a simplified version of what's happening. So here, hold on. Let me get this up here now. So the camera actually will slightly skew the angles incorrectly. So one of the things as you're learning how to sketch in, it's good to learn. Yeah, and this one looks like it should be a little, well, no, actually, this is pretty good. There we go. So sketch in the mountains in the background. Here. I'm just simply sketching these in. I don't know where this is, but it sure is pretty.
It's going to be sent.
Yeah, send it over. And what, I'm barely hearing you, Rollo, but maybe I'm talk, guys. Maybe it's my problem. Maybe I've got a bad connection. You
Hello.
all can, oh, there we go. Okay, better. Okay, so let me take a picture of this. There's just a couple trees. And then I've sketched out kind of the grass in the foreground. Let's see.
Look at the newest one,
The newest one. Okay. let me
because I
check.
didn't delete, I didn't rub out a line.
Okay. Good. This has to angle down a little bit more.
The
You
roof.
Pop the roof. It's not as flat as you think it is. It's angled. It's a little bit angled down.
That's what I'm trying to.
So yes, so you need to angle it down more than actually what it seems to be happening here, because that is actually the accurate perspective. This side looks pretty good. Yep. Mhm. Good job. Here's where we start to separate the people who are wanting to get serious about this. This is the beginning of your being able to have the tools to do that. Let's see. Yeah, Lisa, this is too wide, honey. This side is too wide. You need to bring this in much more, much more. Other side looks pretty good, actually. But, you know, you have this out here like this, and it should be in here. This side is like, here, hold on. This side is like half of this. This side is half of this side.
Thanks. Sorry, I was having
Yeah.
trouble unmuting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be right back.
Yay. All right. All right. Good. By the way, good job, you guys. Ha, it just came through, Rebecca. That's so funny. Cool. Anybody else want to send theirs over so I can take a look at it?
I am in a minute. I'm still doing mine.
Got it.
I'm slow.
It's a mind bender, this one.
It
If you want
is.
to, you can add a little bit of the grass, the sort of edges of the grass coming in.
I'm still working on the house. I haven't
Yeah.
gotten anything else
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's tricky. It's tricky. That's why you guys said you wanted to do houses. Like, oh my
I
God.
take it back.
Right?
I take it all back.
Right? This is what it is.
I'm working on my own perspective challenge.
Okay.
My left side still too wide, Leah.
Well, honey, where's your wall? Where's your vertical? You don't have one. You have no block. You have
No,
no.
I did.
Nope. It's gone. Look, you have this without this.
Wait. Sorry, hold on. Let me move my. Sorry, can you say that again?
You have this. You don't have that.
Yeah.
Where's your vertical line? You haven't defined your side. You need a vertical line here to define the side of the building.
Okay.
Here. You don't have that line.
Okay. Yeah, my old eyes were not seeing that well. Now I got it.
Fun. Kitty on the bus. He's looking pretty good. I'm just checking your perspective lines. Yeah, actually those will come Mm-hmm. Fortunately, you don't have to have the top of the window, just the bottom.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
So I'm just looking at these. I'm just thinking, sorry, I'm measuring this. You can't even see what I'm doing. I'm like, well, these
I
should
see
meet.
what it, yeah,
These need to meet in a single vanishing point. I think they do.
I think they do. That's what I planned on anyway.
Yep. I think that works. And then this line, the bottom line, also should meet. Oh, wait.
Is that a kitty on a subway?
It's a bus.
It's a kitty on the
A
bus.
bus. Oh my
You
God,
see,
so cute.
The cat is really enlarged, but that's all right.
No, I love it. I could tell those seats were some kind of public transit. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's for this project that I've been resisting.
oh, I have plenty of those, but they're not art related.
Until tonight.
Yeah, maybe.
So Lisa, you should have just drawn a line here and then sent it back to me.
I am. I'm doing that right
Oh,
now. I'm
okay.
taking the picture.
Got it. Okay. I'm like,
I
let me see it.
Go away.
I sent it. I feel like it's taking a
It's
minute. I hear
It
everybody
is. I got it. It just
after.
came in. Okay. So you also need the roof, the top roof, the bottom of the roof line here. That also, and that's just above the eye level. So it's slightly
Okay.
angled.
Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't, so I feel like you need to bring your, oh, I see. Wait here, hold on. Hold on, I'm looking at I'm checking your angles.
All right. I was very careful with my angles.
Yeah, I see. Yep. So this is a little bit above the eye level. So it kind of comes
Okay.
slightly at an angle down to that single vanishing
Down
point.
to the left.
Yeah. And then I think
Okay.
it works. And it's the same here.
Awesome.
This is also slightly angled. It's not just straight across. It's a little bit above, angled down. Let's see.
Oh,
Rebecca.
okay. Yep. I
Got
gotta
it?
fix that. Okay.
Hey, good job, you guys. All right. So Rebecca. Rebecca, this line you have absolutely straight. It's above the eye level, so it angles down slightly towards that single. You have it straight. It actually should be coming down. Got that? So the middle line here, the middle bottom roof line on the right, should be angled down. It shouldn't be straight. Should be going down.
Well,
Yeah, you have it straight. You have it absolutely straight. It's
I actually have it rising.
yeah, it's not
If
rising.
you compare it to the eye line.
Yeah, it shouldn't be rising. It should be coming towards eye level. If it's above, hang on here. If it's above the eye level, it comes down to the eye level. It does not rise up, right? Because then it can't meet at a single vanishing point on eye level. So I don't care what you think you're seeing. What's actually happening is that the slight angle down. So the camera is kind of not your friend here.
Okay. So that means my vanishing point would be way off then.
Yes, just like I showed you here. Right? Just like I showed you. Right here, like this. Here, hold on, like this. Right?
Yeah, but I mean way off in that if I move it down slightly, it makes the vanishing point way different spot.
Yeah.
In my original.
Yes, that's right.
Because it doesn't take
So
much to move
It
it.
doesn't
All
make
right,
it to move the vanishing point. Yep.
Okay,
Yep. So everything above eye level angles down to the single vanishing point. Everything below eye level angles up.
I gotta write that down.
Yep. Just watch the lecture. It's all written down for you. But write it down. But really watch the lecture. There's a great PowerPoint. There's all kinds of examples. It is like,
Oh,
it'll
okay.
really help you with this concept.
PowerPoint. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. I'm keeping this up so that you guys can see it. Can you see that even this line is angled down, right? This line, even this line kind of comes down a little bit, and this comes up to meet.
Let's see.
And then, guys, what do you think? What color do you think we should use as a base for this painting? We were going to pick a single color. Here, hold on.
Red.
Yeah, red would be nice, or maybe I think orange. I think burnt sienna, actually.
I thought you were going to say
Yeah.
that.
Kind of. a
Yeah,
red.
did you know I'm like so transparent, aren't I? I love.
like it.
Yeah, yeah. But
Can we have a minute to draw in the mountains and stuff?
of course, of course. I was just asking what you would like to do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
No, I think I've got the barn finally, but I haven't done the
Awesome.
mountains.
Right on, you guys. You're awesome. So fun.
Can I
So we'll
just
be
say-
able to.
I was just going to show you. My mum sent me my grandmother's watercolor set,
Oh, please take a picture.
but look, it hasn't been cleaned since she last used it.
Right.
To reuse it.
It doesn't matter. You can clean it.
Eugene, your roof line is too high above, this lower roof line is too high above the eye level. It's actually a little bit closer to eye level. So here, I'll show it to you here. So if I were to draw eye level, like this, here's your eye level going straight across. Right? That's the eye level. So look at where the roof line, the bottom of the roof line is in relation to the eye level. Yours, you have it up here. And that's not what's happening. That makes it a totally different angle. It's got to stay very close to eye level. Here's eye level, and then here's the roof line, which means that it slightly angles down. So get that closer to roof line. Let's see, Rebecca, that looks good. Yeah, girl. Yeah. Yeah. Good job.
Hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard and it's easy. Oh, look at that, Rollo. Isn't that gorgeous?
But I don't clean it.
What?
I don't want to clean it.
You're gonna need to clean it, honey.
Oh, no, I bought this instead.
Is that a ceramic?
You just
set,
have to clean out the
Sharon?
tray, right?
Yeah,
I
just
know,
the
but I
tray.
feel bad because it's just like my grandmother's last. Like she
Paintings.
didn't clean it before she died.
So she was painting like right before she died?
She was painting all the way up to her death. Yeah.
That's really cool. Can you send us some pictures of her work?
I don't really have very much. My sister's ran off with all of it. All I've got is a mug.
Right.
I don't really, doesn't really show very much, but
Oh, that's,
That's
pretty.
Wait,
Wow.
hold it
Here,
up. I'm
hold
trying
on,
to make
I'm
it
going
bigger
to-
on my screen.
Oh, can we
I'm gonna
put in
add you-
spotlight?
Yeah, pin
Yep,
it.
yeah, I'm gonna add a spotlight there. Put it up. Put it up again. Let's see it. Hold it up now. Oh, that's gorgeous. Hold it up again. Let's see it. Now we can see it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, pretty.
Wow, that's pretty.
got her little name at the bottom.
Oh,
That's neat.
that's
That's nice to
fantastic.
have.
That's
Bumble.
fantastic. All
I
right,
think she'd
everybody.
want you to clean out her tray and use it, Rollo.
I think so
Yeah.
too.
Exactly.
I
I
know.
like that she's got all these labels on for the color names, though. I'm curious to see what's on there. How fun.
And I've got her brush as well, which
Oh,
she
that's
obviously
so
took after
cool.
me because she chews on the end of the brush.
All right, so guys, when you're ready, send over, go ahead and just briefly sketch in the mountains. We don't have to get to, I basically sketched the lights and the darks. Wait, I didn't even do that. Here, hold on. Let me continue that. So there's this, there's that, there we go. There's this kind of back light area and this dark. It's nice we've already done all these things. We have already separately done mountains and trees and grasses. So now that we're putting this into, now we're just adding something. And by the way, I'm now much more, and once we go to watercolor, things are going to go quicker. But I'm now much more in the zone of, if we don't finish a painting, I am really happy to take another session to finish it. I want to make sure that I'm talking to you about finishing. So let's make sure we're going to play it by ear. I tend to like overcomplicate things for you guys. So, I always pick something that's a little bit like harder. So I want to make
Because we're
sure.
so good.
Yeah. Y'all take it. Y'all are
Yeah.
troopers. Total troopers.
We are.
Yeah, you are. West Coast, where it all happens
Well,
first.
I start out the class cursing you, Leah, in my head, but it gets easier.
It gets easier. It gets easier. It gets easier. Yep. I'm just checking my line. So the thing about perspective is that you really do need to know the rule, or you really will screw it up. You'll think you're looking at one thing. You'll think lines are going up when they're actually going down, right? But if you know the rules of perspective, the 2 vanishing points or the 1 vanishing point. So a single vanishing point is when you've got a road, very simply, when you've got like a road, that road like this, right? And this, right? So everything in here, if there's like cars, they all disappear right into this same, every angle of the car goes into a different vanishing point, right? Things get smaller and more angled up. So, and I thought, and if we have time, we'll do a car next time.
Car would be fun.
Unless we just get caught in doing this.
I'm trying to be disciplined, like the writers that write their novel 2 hours before they start working. I'm trying to do the same thing with my painting now. So I start painting early in the morning for 2 hours, and then I get on to
Good
breakfast.
for you. So let's see, at the end of the week, you'll have gotten, if you attend like 2 classes, that's 10. So you're getting a good 15 hours then. That's awesome.
I'm trying. Let's see how long it lasts, but I'm trying.
It's
If I do
interesting.
it early in the morning, it doesn't interfere with work at all. So
Janet is doing the same thing. Janet Robertson is
Yeah.
also in the morning. So basically, Janet used to commute from New Jersey to, Times Square in New York. And now which was a 2-hour,
Yeah.
2 hours of time each way. And now she doesn't have to do that. So she's taken her commute time and old commute time, and that has become her painting time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
it's a great idea. It's a really great idea. All right, everybody ready? Are we ready to get on into paint, or you want a little bit more time?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. All right, so let's start with burnt sienna, or if we want to be even flashier, let's start with cadmium. Let's be flashy. We're going to start with cadmium red light and cadmium yellow medium.
Can I use burnt sienna if I don't have one of those?
Yeah, absolutely. Or burnt sienna.
I don't have cadmium.
Right.
Oh wait, I do have cadmium red medium, and the yellow was
Cadmium yellow.
cadmium yellow medium.
Yes, or yellow
do
or
have
light,
those.
whatever, or cadmium yellow, or cadmium yellow light, medium light. Anyway, it just has to say cadmium and yellow in the title.
Okay.
Let me get up here. All right. And then it's pretty easy to see the darks and lights here. So, okay, I'm taking a lot of yellow and only a little bit of red. I only need a little bit of red to get a lot of yellow here. And I'm gonna start with a little bit more red on the dark sides. The dark part. Don't worry about the windows and the doors, just cover them up right now. So I'm going to the darkest areas of the, oops, hold on, sorry. I didn't want to get stuff on our color copy. It's starting to drip onto our color copy here. And actually, this is kind of a watery, I'm letting this be a little bit watery, this layer. Let's go in orange. Get pretty dark down here too. I mean, we'll definitely will glaze over this to even push it in a more dark direction. Let's see what else we've got. Here is pretty dark. Here is pretty dark. So those are what I would say are the darkest areas. So you can see this is a pretty loose, as always, a fairly, you should want to go back in with red here and really pop out those trees. You can also lose the trees a little bit in this underpainting, but we can bring them back later. Yeah, I can't resist and then more yellow. And then for the lighter areas, more water and way more yellow. So a lot more yellow. Just to be.
Is it okay if my paint, sorry, if my paint's more orangey than yours?
Well, yeah, as long as you've got your lights and your darks, that's fine. So see, I'm just getting the lights and the darks in here, and then in here in the sky. By the way, I have no interest in painting those clouds, so we're probably not going to do that. Seems like too much in the perspective game here. And if I want to, I can even go back in and even more darken. I'm going back in with straight red and kind of just darkening my darks a little bit. It's funny, this is not a super dark painting. And notice I got really dark down here. Because although there are it's light on top, there are dark layers below. And actually, if I'm really paying attention, there's a little tree line here that's also kind of red. I really like these bases. I feel like they're so loose. Look at how loose that is. There's not that much to it. It really does help you to sort of understand and simplify things. By the way, what direction is the sun coming from? Can you tell?
Behind.
Yeah, kind of this way. And you can tell, look at how the mountains are shaded too. Light on the left and dark on the right. Light poking up on top. Let's see. Is there more? Let me take a picture of this. And also, you guys, I want to encourage you at this point. Oh yeah, yeah, Lisa, that's great. You got it. Got it, baby. It's looking good.
Yay.
Yay, it's cute. The perspective works. And Rebecca, your perspective looks good too. I'm looking at it too. Good job. I want you, of course, always, now that you're starting to get some confidence, here we go. With your paintings, you know, some more experience. Of course, you can be flexible with your colors. However, you cannot be flexible with your values. I want you to keep your values strong. When you lose your values, you lose the, you know, so if your darks don't look dark and your lights don't look light, that's when you're in trouble. And by the way, you all handled that perspective thing pretty damn well. I'm impressed. And if you're still a little bit like, I don't get it, that's okay. Like, you know, it's something you need to study and see a lot of examples of before it really starts to click in. So that's why I said, watch Jessica's lecture, because it's got a lot of examples in it. And then you can start, and then it's easier to picture in your mind, start to understand it. And then you'll actually later, just like measuring, it'll start to feel more automatic to you. Does anybody find that they're kind of better at measuring than they used to be? I see that happening. Yeah, with you. I see that happening with everybody on this call. So, you know, it's a practice thing. I just taught a group, hopefully another group that's going to join us, BuzzFeed Tech, which is different than BuzzFeed News. Apparently they have their own thing, and it was full of like techie people. And I could see like them going, oh my God, this is just a different logic system, like the alternate logic systems that we use in our work. It was fascinating to watch the kind of lights turn, light turn on.
Yeah, they're probably pretty good at it.
They did, you know, what I was fascinated
They measure a lot.
Right. They're used to this idea of, I think they think a little bit more visually in their work. There's also a lot more men, which was,
You know, we have
tech,
a big network with other journalist groups, journalist press groups. I don't know if you want me to.
Oh, yeah. If you think people would be interested, Diana.
I don't know. I mean, I could.
Yeah, it would be lovely. That would be lovely. We definitely need to make the class pay my hourly, my base hourly rate. We need 2 more companies to pay in. But I'm not in a rush on it. Like, I feel like we've got about half. Oh yeah, Rollo, that looks great. Nice, looks lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely.
Jubbly.
Lovely, jubbly. All right, so let's take a look at the pictures. I'm going to put this to the side and let it dry. And I'm probably I'm just going to wipe off my, let's see. I made a big mess here, so I might just get another palette. Hang on, I'll be right back. I'm going to get a paper towel. Okay, let me just clean this off a little bit. All right, so definitely these colors will come into play. Let's see what else we've got here. Anybody else have thoughts on other colors we might need? I'll start pulling them, but if you have ideas, shout them out. Definitely burnt sienna is going to be huge in this. And yellow ochre.
Whatever it's called, blue. The one beginning with
Oh, Phthalo, the one starting with a P, TH. Yeah. I think we should put both blues up. We might use phthalo and we might use ultramarine, right? So let's put them both and we'll test and see which one we're going to use. So absolutely, ultramarine, a little bit of ultramarine and a little bit of phthalo.
Yeah.
Phthalo. When we painted mountains before, they were up close. They weren't so far away, so they were a little bit cooler. These might be warmer, but it's possible. Hold on. Get my phthalo. Phthalo. Yeah, so let's get a couple of the blues. It's interesting. It looks like a simple scene, but there's a lot going on in here color-wise, isn't there? So there's phthalo, there's ultramarine, here's ochre, here's red and yellow, since we used that already. Definitely burnt sienna and burnt umber are going to be in this. We're going to use both. And does anybody see the green?
Oh,
I think Viridian green. There's a lot of green up in here. And actually, here. So that's burnt umber. Here's my burnt sienna. Burnt sienna. Let's put some Viridian green. Maybe a little white.
Is Viridian hue the same as Viridian green?
It's in with golden. No, it's not quite, but it's close enough. It's close enough. With golden, with acrylics, they often don't make the exact color. They don't always make the same colors that they make in, they don't use the same things that they do in oil.
Okay.
And Viridian is definitely, yeah. So golden doesn't actually make a Viridian green. They make a Viridian green hue. So it's the closest thing, but it's not quite the same, which is kind of interesting, I think. Right, hang on. And I am gonna get some white and then Gesundheit. All right. Gesundheit, Gesundheit. So we're waiting for these to dry. Let me take a look at what you guys have sent me. Rebecca looks great. Lisa, yeah, looks good. Okay, so remember that all of our, these grasses are going to be really interesting to mix. And I think we're going to start actually with a series of glazing to get the colors in. So the deeper color here is definitely a green. I feel like the house is really like on the shadow side. So the shadow side of the house, I think, will be burnt sienna and ultramarine blue and a touch of white. So it's going to be a kind of a gray. You could try mixing that now if you want to. That's what I'm mixing. So the dark side of the house, this shadow side, once again, I'm always, yep, burnt, actually maybe a touch of burnt umber too. So burnt umber, burnt sienna, and ultramarine blue for the shadow side of the house. And then maybe just, maybe the same mix, but more white for the light side of the house. I didn't get enough burnt umber on my. What I really wish Golden would do is figure out a way to get their tops to stay on the paint tubes. Like that's like the biggest thing that's always going on with golden. All right.
What I really hope for is that you can actually bloody read it without it being too reflective.
Right.
It's just like trying to work out the colors.
Yeah, it's really tough. Boy, I'm so curious to see what you guys think about watercolor after going through. So I think your house is going to be burnt sienna, like different mixes of burnt sienna, burnt umber with blue and white. So, and maybe we'll add a little bit of red into here as we get going. The grasses are going to start with greens. So a little bit of viridian green and cad red in the base. And a touch of yellow. So viridian green, cad red, and in the base. And then the top layers are going to be like burnt sienna and yellow, and maybe a little bit of yellow ochre. That's going to be the top layers. So this bottom layer is going to be kind of greenish, and then things will get whiter. And then for the, let's see, for the mountains, we're going to mix phthalo with a touch of burnt sienna. And then we'll add some white to that. See what happens. Whoa, that's pretty intense. Let's see if we can knock that back a little bit. Yeah, that'll probably work. So phthalo blue, white, and burnt sienna. So basically everything we're painting as we're mixing the colors, there's going to be a complement. So mountains, let me see if I can write some of this stuff down. Mountains. It's white. Top grasses, ochre plus. I'll write these down and take a picture of them plus. And then the cabin. Plus ultramarine blue. Okay, let me take a picture of these. So. And then. And then the mountains. So you can spend a little time while we're waiting for our paintings to dry, spend a little time if you want to practice what we're doing first. You're going to want to practice the darkest areas of the landscape. So that will be the kind of dark areas, mixing the browns here, the darks here, the trees in the background. Here, hold on, I'm trying to get a picture of this. There we are. God damn it. There. So those are some like mixing recipes. Yeah, and by the way, we do not have to finish this today. We can work on this next week. So I do not want to force you guys into feeling like you have to finish this, because there's a lot of different elements in here. I wasn't really thinking about it until, as usual. And I think the first thing that we're going to do is glaze this front part green. In fact, maybe we'll glaze the entire, well, I have an idea. We're going to do this. We're going to start with a glaze. And I'm going to start with Viridian Green glaze. So I'm getting my brush very wet. I'm not loading, it's my big brush. There's not like sort of visible paint on there, except that has been watered down. And I'm gonna run that over the whole sort of, yeah, let's just do the whole thing. And the reason I'm doing that is that I want to color, green is, you know, is a complement to red, which we've got in here in some way. I mean, we could also have done blue. And actually, if we really want to get it completely done. So, but there's also a lot of green down here. And I'd like to try and get some of that into the base before we start adding colors in. I really like this. There's some cool drips that are creating some sort of light areas here that I think are going to be really helpful to me. And then let's take a little bit of phthalo blue and go over the top of the mountains too. And so go ahead, we can do this. And let me take a picture of what that looks like. You know, it's a little tricky to see.
Starting to look good.
Yeah, right? Like just the glazes, I think, are looking kind of pretty. Now, what's interesting about the painting at this point is that, oh, there you go, Diana. That's looking great. That's looking just wonderful. So what's interesting about the painting at this point is that it's looking pretty muddy and murky, right? It does not look bright. It's because we've glazed with a complementary color. So it's neutralizing a lot of our bright areas. We still can see our values, but it's kind of like muddying up. And this is a wonderful base to start your painting. It's a great way
What
to
did you
start.
glaze?
Green.
What did you glaze the bottom part with?
Green, Viridian green, just straight green.
Okay.
And then I went over everything with green and then over the top, the mountains. And then I went back over with phthalo blue over the mountains and the sky. So it looks really murky. Looks like so murky. And this is just the best base for a painting, this kind of deep, murky, dark. And I feel like that is not an intuitive feeling. Like most people would look at this painting and feel like it's ruined for them, you know, like I hate this, it's awful. But we're gonna start adding in our darks, and then as we lay lights on top, they're gonna really vibrate against this dark, rich base. And we'll probably start with the, I'm just waiting for it to dry a bit.
Do you use ultramarine for the sky, or was it?
I use phthalo, actually.
Yeah.
I thought, why not use phthalo? So.
Nope.
Let's see.
Oh, it's a bit too bright.
Although it's okay.
Mine's really bright. Mine's really bright.
Show me. Take a picture. Show me.
All right.
What do you
Might be
mean
a
by
disaster.
that? What do you mean by that?
Oh, you're right. You'll
Oh.
see. Hold on. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it does not look anything like yours.
It's gonna look like yours, not like Leah's.
Right.
Okay, well, there's mine. I
Send it
didn't put my
over.
name on it. My blue just turned
Oh
out
yeah, that
really
went
bright at the top.
crazy. So take a paper towel
Yeah.
and run it over
Oh,
the
okay.
top. Run it over the top so you can
Okay.
pull off some of it. Yeah, I use
Okay.
more water. You use more paint. So when you're
Okay.
glazing, it's good, but I mean, it won't hurt that. That won't hurt. So take a paper towel and kind of brush off.
Well, maybe it's going to be a dark and stormy night over my mountains.
That's what it is over here. It's not quite dark yet, but it's stormy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really windy here yesterday. I don't know what that was about.
I'm okay. How you doing? That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. That's okay. Yeah.
But those darks can't hurt, but it's good. I think it's good to bring it back a little bit.
Okay, I did a little. I mean, as much as I could get off it.
Our normal procedure when so what we normally do is we have headlines bypass at all times.
What are we doing now next?
What you glazed? Did you glaze?
I glaze, well, I glazed the mountains green. the
So I
green.
glazed the whole thing green, and then I went back and glazed
Oh,
it
yeah,
blue,
with blue.
phthalo blue. Yeah,
Yeah, that, I did that.
you did that. Take a picture. Let
Yeah.
me see it.
Oh,
And now I'm kind of waiting for it to dry a little bit before we get into, and I might even wipe off a little bit of, take a paper towel. Hold on, get back to her. Boy. The ever loving. There we go. That's a little bit better. So I think we're going to start by painting the cabin, the top colors of the cabin. So if you've got like wet paint, you might want to mop it off. I'm mopping a little bit off here. And then my cabin, let's see. Oh, wait, sorry. Let me take a look at what everybody's looks like. Oh yeah, Rollo, that looks great. Get more green down here, Rollo. More green. Yeah. Rebecca, that looks good. Nice. Very pretty. Kind of in a weird way, it looks sort of done on its own, doesn't it?
yeah.
And now, let's get a smaller flat. I'd like a smaller flat brush. And you want to look at the, here, let's see, how do I get this so we can see everything? We're going to bring this up a bit so we can see the cabin. So the cabin is quite dark on this side. So I'm mixing ultramarine blue, burnt umber, ultramarine blue, and burnt sienna together. And I'm bringing in a touch of white, but not very much. I just kind of want to, because it's a little bit, there's a little bit of white here. Let's see.
Yeah, this is like the dark gray that we mixed, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a grayish brown, browny blue. Yeah. And actually, you know what? You can kind of go over everything with it. So I'm using this. So once I get this in here, then maybe I'll take a pointed brush and add in, how do I get, let's see, I want a little bit. I'm adding like, I'm experimenting with what I think will work here. Let's see.
Blue do you use for the size of the cabin?
What's that?
Which blue did you say?
Ultramarine blue.
Ultramarine.
Ultramarine. I'm drifting in a little bit of white over the top of the dark. Right, to create some of that, the lines. I'm not drawing it straight across, but I'm adding just a little bit of white while the dark paint is still wet. And then I'm going to go in with more blue for the windows so that they're darker. Like the window and the door here. So I've got a pointed brush. I'm kind of alternating between a little pointed brush. Remember and I'm just sort of laying the light. I'm laying white and yellow, a little bit of yellow ochre on top of this sort of dark, this still wet burnt umber blue base. So there's little bits of, and I'm also trying to get my lines to kind of also go to that same vanishing point. I'm not drawing every line, I'm just drawing a few. On the top here, underneath. And then on the light side, let's see. Let's try burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, and more white. Yeah, well, too gray. Wonder if I just did burnt sienna, yellow ochre, white. So you're gonna want to, I think for the light side, nope. Want that even lighter. Burnt sienna, nope, too dark. It's weird, it's kind of a cool color. So I'm mixing burnt sienna and I'm not using burnt umber in the light side, but I'm using burnt sienna and ultramarine blue and a lot of white. So that's what I'm mixing down here. And with my flat brush, once again, oish, clean out your flat brush. My flat brush had a lot of dark paint on it. Burnt sienna, burnt umber, and white. And it will still read as a little bit dark. Yeah, you need a lot of white to really get this to show up. So I'm starting with kind of this light base here and bringing it up in here on the light side with my flat brush. And then I'll go in with my pointed brush with some white and some darkers, some dark. Oops. I'm not getting into too much detail here. There's a shadow. So that's more like sort of burnt umber and ultramarine blue, right? Right here, right? And it's a shadow on the side of the building. But everything else is fairly light. So it's more whites and yellows. I'm doing lines straight down. There's one or two really kind of whitish logs. Sort of right below the horizon line.
Did you add blue to that mixture?
I did. because you want it to be kind of grayish, right? It's
Yeah,
not
okay.
really bright. This is not really bright. So everything has a kind of, and I'm using a little bit, I'm adding a little bit of white in here. That's pretty bright. In a few places. Some burnt umber, ultramarine blue. The shadow on this side is a little, and then once again, remember that if you're gonna sort of, I'm not doing all the logs, but I'm just doing a couple, sort of alternating between black and white. They're also, these ones, these lines are going down, but these ones are also going at, you know, to that single vanishing point. So it's not set, like this one is kind of straight across and this one kind of goes a little bit up and this one's steeper. And then it looks to me like burnt sienna and white and yellow ochre for the top of the roof. Nope, even more. Okay, yellow. Let's see. Let's try yellow and burnt sienna and white. Yeah, there we go. Burnt sienna and white and a touch of yellow for the top of the roof. It's light. No blue in that. Really needs to be more white. Notice though how much the white really flattens out that the oranges. So often it's better to use yellow to start your lightening process. And these guys, of course, this is almost all. So the other thing I'm going to tell you guys to do is now, and maybe you're always doing this, is play with the different brushes to see what you like. So this is just white with a touch of burnt sienna. And this is more burnt sienna and white. Right now, it's kind of not really showing up super well because we haven't really put in the background yet. You know, the other things, grasses and such. So let me take a picture of that. Okay. Rebecca, that really is a cool looking underpainting. I love seeing the painting start to emerge. Okay, what's going on? You gonna tell me I don't have room? Okay, great. I love seeing the painting start to emerge from all this mush. I think this is quite fun. Here. And like I said, guys, don't feel stressed about trying to finish this. We can totally work on this and do another one, right? Next week, if we feel like it. So I want us to feel like we have time to, if we want to do more ambitious things, they might just take a little bit longer. By the way, starting in April, there is another new class that is being added. That is on Sundays at 11 a.m. LA time. That goes for 3 hours. It's not a new class, but it's new for Art at Work. And that class, which was a core curriculum class, is being turned into a painting atelier. So you can, if you want to continue with acrylic painting, or I'm going to move to oil eventually in my demos fairly soon in that class, you are welcome to join that class. And I mean, you can also, of course, do acrylic painting in once we move to watercolor if you don't feel like it. But I just thought you guys would enjoy, if you want to keep on doing this kind of painting, we'll just keep working on, and we'll do figure painting, we'll do some face painting, we'll do, I'll have you work from still lifes. We're going to have you do more complex projects that might take 2 or 3 sessions. So if you want to do that, that is happening as well as all the other classes.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, without these classes, I would not have taken up painting again. No.
Really, Diana? Is that true?
Oh,
I find it
maybe
hard
I
to
would do
believe.
it when I retire or something, but no. I mean, I haven't painted for 20 years.
That's amazing. I know you say that, but that's just amazing to me. It's such a, it seems to bring you so much. It just seems
Yeah, it does.
shocking to me
It does.
that I'm so glad. That makes me really happy, because you should be painting. Right? You should
No, I know, but I never, it was always so much to do, but now I found a pattern where I can actually fit in painting in my life.
It's the learning, it's the classes help, right? Because you have to show up to
Yeah.
class, and then they help you start to learn how to add it in yourself. Yeah, like you and Janet, as I said, are figuring out very similar things. Yeah, you start to figure out when you paint the best. I used to be an early morning painter, and then I realized I worried too much about the business stuff if I didn't get it done first thing in the morning. So I like working, and I'm just debating over whether I'm gonna go in. I am gonna do that. Sorry, I'm looking at the next step while you guys are working. How's your little cabins looking?
Mm.
You don't have to get all the detail in right now. Just
I,
get the
what I'm
basic
having
lights.
trouble with, okay, I'm just, my colors aren't turning out right.
You're probably adding too much blue. That would be my bet.
Probably.
Right?
Well, here, I'll send it to you.
Send it to me. My bet is there's too much of one color, and my bet is if you're not liking
Well, yeah,
it,
one,
it's
you'll see
probably too much blue.
one part is totally too much blue.
Right.
I know that. The others are closer.
Yeah, I'm finding this is a difficult colors to mix, so don't try too hard. I'm just using burnt sienna and white, and more white and burnt sienna here, and burnt sienna and blue. And I get it. I'm having the same, they're a little bit mushy right now. Yeah, good, Rollo. Looks good. This looks good. You can do what Rollo has done, and then what will happen is we're going to add the other elements in, and then we can go back and kind of finish, right? We have to start with a block in. Yeah, that's too blue on the side there.
Yeah.
So just mix more.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. So just mix more burnt sienna in there.
On the canvas, or let it dry and do it over?
Just mix it on. No, I would mix it over here and then try and get it on the canvas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else want to send how their little cabins are looking?
I'm trying to send it
Okay.
in a minute here.
I'm very,
Lisa, Diana, what's happening about the award show?
It's coming first week in April. We're pushing it because we have to get in sync with the other show as well.
nice.
So it's coming, I think it's going to be April 8th.
Okay,
Yeah.
have to get my truck ready.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's going to be April 8th. The script for the show is almost ready, and we have Alonso Baden will do a few bits.
Oh yeah, that looks good, Rebecca.
Thank you.
All right.
It will be fun, and we're also opening the SoCal awards contest, I think, on Monday.
So another contest.
Yeah, and that one will be a live show in October.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, that'll be much better.
I know. Yay. I know. We're excited. My open studios is going to be able to be open too. We think. I mean, something could still go wrong. All right.
yeah, I
So
know.
now we're going to work on the layers of color here. You need to go back to your big brush for this. And we're going to start with Viridian green and burnt sienna as a mix with a touch of yellow in it. So not a lot, because you still want it to be fairly dark, but burnt sienna, Viridian green, and a touch of yellow. And then with your big brush, make sure your brush is fairly dry. So now I've got more paint on my brush. I'm going to start with a series of kind of loose strokes where I don't try to cover everything. See how I'm loosely stroking, and see how dark it is.
Let's go. Wow.
Notice I don't cover more than one area once. So with grasses like this, and it really is green here and sort of red and light up here. So we're gonna stop this area, this sort of dark area here. With grasses like this, you want to make sure that you get your darkest areas in first. So it should be this dark, but also notice I still have texture. So I'm going to take a picture of this so you guys can see it. Here, hold on.
Burnt sienna, Viridian green.
Green and a touch of yellow.
Oh,
Okay.
I put yellow in it.
A touch of yellow, not too much. It should still be this dark. See how dark it is? What I just laid down there.
Oh, that's more than a touch. Fudge.
Story of my life. And
Right,
as
that's
far as
it,
painting.
right? Oh, that's much more than
Yeah.
a touch. I've been there. We'll be there again. That's so cute. That is really cute. But notice also the stroke is very like I stroke once, then I go to another area, stroke again. I don't go over and over and over and over in one place. I'm loosely.
And your brush is pretty wet.
And my brush is dry. Now I'm loading my brush. Now my brush is pretty dry and I'm loading.
Okay.
Lisa, I love Jesus. Your understanding of painting has just exploded. You're asking all the right questions.
Oh, yay.
You're asking all the right questions. So maybe you guys, what we'll do is get up to the grasses part and we'll do the mountains in the sky next week. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Then we'll have time to like really get into it and talk about all the things. Because as usual, poor West Coast gets an overambitious, I think.
Good.
So now once that is in, I'm now going to load my brush with a little bit of, here, I'm going to try something, a little bit of orange. And then what if I did like yellow? And I'm trying a couple of things before I totally tell you what to do here. All right. So once again, we're going to start layering. There is a lot of burnt sienna in here on top and yellow ochre. So what I'm going to have you do, I've never had you do this before. I'm going to have you put on one side of your brush some burnt sienna, and your brush should be pretty dry. And on the other side of your brush, some yellow ochre. Can you see this? Like, they're almost separate. And then we're going to do some dragging this way, that way, that way. Yeah. Notice I'm holding my brush very lightly. It's still pretty dry. It's still pretty dark, but it's starting to get some of that color in. Right? Dragging over. And if I wanted to, I could bring some of that also up into here. So it's a dragging motion. So I'm doing that again. I'm adding sort of yellow, and I'm not mixing it. I'm kind of just putting them either on my brush side by side, or, you know, kind of like on top of each other. And I'm adding those in.
So it's burnt sienna and yellow ochre.
Yellow ochre. And I'm just kind of adding those in on top too. But you want to be, and then I'm taking my brush and I'm kind of tapping it over the top to get rid of any strong lines, some serious lines. I'm sort of tapping it to soften the strokes once I've gone in and made them. I'm just making this, I just want you to know I'm making this up as I go along. This is how I would paint it, but it's not like I had a plan beforehand. That's how I was going to do it. I'm like, wow. So this is where you start to we're getting kind of crazy with the brush. Things are still pretty dark. And then I am going to actually clean up my water and clean my brushes out. You guys, I would invite you to do the same.
Okay. Yeah, I need to do that.
Ah, how far up against the house do we need to go with these?
Go kind of right up to the edge. You'll see here, I've just come right up to the edge. I know the lights are going to come up in over the house, but that's kind of on the top. Right to the edge. So what I was noticing is that this big brush of mine, which I've been using for a lot of my base work, it's not really going to help me with the grasses because it's got too fine a point. It's like too nice a brush, really. What I went in looking for the raggediest ass brush I could find. I want something, I've got a couple of options here. I want something that's kind of will give me a more raggedy stroke. So the more the 1-inch craft brushes are great because they get raggedy really fast. So if you've got one of those, you could probably keep working with it. But I just went looking for where is a brush where the bristles are going every which direction, and I'm even making them go a little bit more.
Yeah, I have one of those. I have this craft brush that I was hating.
Yeah,
now I
so
have a
the
use for it.
craft brush is like is a perfect thing for this. And then as you get your lights on top are going to be like ochre white, and yellow. Okay, so let's see if I can do this correctly. So with ochre, white, and yellow, you're going to take that raggedy craft brush. Do you see how I'm kind of laying it on top and stroking? The idea is I want this sort of grassy feeling. And I might also try a little bit of burnt sienna because there's areas where it's kind of, but
So it's
once
yellow,
again,
yellow ochre and white
yeah, and
burnt sienna.
and a little bit of burnt sienna in places. But you want it not to scrub in, right? So I'm trying to lightly apply it on top. See how now I'm getting that feeling of grass. So what I want is the raggedy. So I'm testing all my different brushes to see what's the brush that's going to give me the most raggedy look. And I'm doing brush strokes. I'm very lightly holding this brush. I'm very it's almost like I'm almost sort of dragging it, and I'm going different directions. Yeah, I think I like this one better. The thicker the brush, the wider the brush and the more raggedy it is. So Lisa, your craft brush, I think, will be a really good addition here. So see how nice and grassy these look? Now we're starting to get this sense of layers.
Is that white and yellow ochre?
Yeah, white and yellow ochre. I'm sometimes adding little bits of cad yellow in there too. And sometimes little bits of burnt sienna. But mostly it's white, yeah, and yellow ochre. And once again, you can also do that same thing where you don't exactly mix them, right? You don't mix them on the canvas. You just sort of scoop up some white and scoop up some yellow ochre. And then the last thing I'm going to do is that little trick, right? This thing where I grab one or two. Let's see if you can see here. Where I grab one or two. You know what? I'll do it with my other one because it's easier to see. With my big one where I grab one or two bristles, right? Like this. With my thumb and my pointer finger. And then I scoop in, I scoop in with some white and some yellow ochre. And I do a little bit of grass shapes in the front bottom part. See that? And I can actually, truthfully, you can do some ochre. You could do some green if you want. Green with a little bit of yellow in it. Some of your white yellow mixture, a bunch of things you can do. See how I'm adding that in, but only at the front. I'm going to scoop in with a little bit of burnt sienna too. Let's see. Yeah, I think that'll work because there's all those colors are kind of happening. And I'm trying to make and the reason I'm doing this is that I don't have that much control over the brush. So that's going to create a kind of weird zigzaggy pattern, which is more like grass than anything else. And while we're working this front area, we can wait for this back area to dry so we can get the lighter colors in. It's funny, this is not my normal subject matter. I mean, I have painted stuff like this before, but it's always fun for me because I'm like, ooh, how would I paint that? Like, this is not what I normally paint. I don't really know. So it's always, I'm like, ooh, what do I feel like do? It's always interesting to figure out like, and as you yourself find your rhythms, you're going to also see this. I wonder if we mixed red and burnt sienna and white, what would happen?
Like that.
or yellow. I feel like I want this sort of brighty red color that I'm not getting. It's the white is flattening it out. Yeah, that's a little, well, that's not bad. It's kind of a orangey color. That's not exactly it. What about red and ochre? I know what that does. That's a flat kind of color too. I'm just playing with the lights around here. Maybe it's just straight white. Get some more white on here that doesn't have other crap on it.
I'm gonna leave you for tonight. All right.
All right, Diana.
Anna,
See you guys.
Wonderful. We'll see. Don't forget, Diana's got a session that starts tomorrow at 8 a.m. if you're in the mood.
Yep.
So join her. The Zoom link should be in this thread.
It is.
It is, yeah. I think we just sent it over.
Okay.
All right,
See you.
Diana. See
Yeah.
you tomorrow, hopefully.
Bye.
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 Hi.
So it's a little bit, I'm experimenting with how to get the white. And I'm finding that if you mix like burnt sienna, red and white, there's kind of a neat, it's not too, it's got to be a lot of white though. So right by the cabin, you'll see I'm now starting to kind of push up. It's more golden though. More yellow. Maybe it's more yellow and white.
oh, I like this.
The way it's your grass is starting to turn out.
Yeah, can I show you a picture?
Please. I think that's really awesome.
Oh.
Yeah, so we'll deal with, so we're just going to work on our grass. The top areas of grass back here are much lighter and the strokes are kind of closer together. So I'm using yellow and white really to distinguish what's happening, and a much lighter stroke, much sort of more,
Ooh, Rollo, yours is really good.
let me see.
I like your grass.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's looking gorgeous. Yep, very nice. So Rollo, the only thing I would do is I'm seeing too many white blotches that are looking too regular. So I want you to take your paintbrush now that you've, and I'll show you what I mean. So you've got all these like blotch, right? These white. Here, hold on. Let me get the white.
I'm just gradually like blending them in.
Yeah, just tap them with your wet, your dry, your brush. Just tap them so that you get rid of, you kind of blend them out a little bit. So just a tap like this, a simple tap will do. And then you can kind of tap it all over, right? Sort of pull some of that down into your dark. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful. Now you
All
might
right, I'm gonna send you mine.
Okay, let's see. Now I felt
not
like
as
in
good as
some
Rollo's.
places, well, let's see. Oh no, Lisa, that's coming right along.
Okay.
Just keep on. So back here, it's more like, it's kind of more streaks of, here, hold on. Let me take a picture of this so you can see what's really happening here. Here, hold on. What's that? So really up here, we can see more of the darks, right? And we can see more of the streaks kind of going up. Back here, it gets lighter. There's kind of streaks of burnt sienna, right? With little puffs of white coming up into them. So it becomes more of like a burnt sienna white thing with maybe a little bit of yellow or ochre in it to make it more golden. So what I mean is there's like this little burnt sienna, sort of darker burnt sienna streaks coming through like this. And then you kind of bleed into them. I need more white. Hold on. with something that's more kind of white and yellow. See? So you still have them, but everything is a little bit lighter and yellower because we can really only see the tops of the grasses as we go further back. That's really what's happening, is we can only see the tops. So everything's a little bit whiter. I'm actually going to go in here and streak in a little bit more burnt sienna, darker burnt sienna down here. It's easy to overdo it, so yeah. It's amazing how simple it is, isn't it, Rollo? Like, it's much simpler than you think when you let the brush kind of do all the work for you.
Yeah.
It's a really amazing. And then if you want to, if you've still got some burnt sienna, I think the last thing we'll do tonight is a little bit of, we'll take some more viridian green and burnt sienna, a dark, and maybe some burnt umber too, just to make it dark. And we'll go ahead and add in that tree line, which is kind of green. My green is all dried. Here, where are you? Green, where are you? More. Let's try viridian green and burnt sienna. So you've got a kind of dark green. Coming back here, here's your tree line, and then your trees. Right, which are just sort of little poofy shapes. There's just two trees in here. We'll deal with the rest of this next. We'll deal with the mountains, which is a whole other thing next week. So yeah, just focus right now on trying to get your grasses. And if you don't get there, don't worry. We can always glaze the grasses darker and try again next week. So just do your best to try and start to layer in those colors. Find your brush that creates that stroke, you know, that you're looking for. What's going to give you the soft, fuzzy, fluffy?
I think I'm going to finish up for the evening, Leah.
Yeah. This is a perfectly good place to stop.
And I will see you all next
Yeah, I'm
week.
kind of, I feel like I've
This
done
is a
all I can
great-
do.
Yeah. This is a great place to stop. So go ahead and just send yours in. I like this new slower pace we're at.
I need to redo my hut. I think that my roof is all wonky, and also
Yeah.
shadows.
Yeah. So we can all add that stuff in next week. Or if you feel like mucking around with anything in the bottom part, feel free to do that. But we will deal with the mountains and the trees next week and the sky next week.
Cool.
But I think it looks really cool. It's starting to look really neat. Great work, great brushwork, you guys. I'm very pleased. Here, I'll send this where it is. I'll send this as where it is right now.
I like the fact that Lisa's is really bright.
Yeah, actually, I do too. Oh, Rebecca, yeah, it's coming along.
We'll see.
Thank you.
Yep. Eugene, great blending. Wow. Love it, Eugene. Love it. Wonderful. So here's where you guys, these are great. They're really neat. Your brushwork has all come a long way. You're really, and Lisa, and your colors are great. So don't worry, they're wonderful. Oh, yeah, it is really fun. This is a really fun one. I'm so glad we're doing it. So fun. Okay, so next week we will, hold on, I'm going to stop let's see. I guess I don't need to stop the recording yet. I'm going to remove the spotlight and put you all in gallery view. Great work, you guys.
Thank you.
Totally fun. Tomorrow we're going to try a different but similar barn scene. It's going to be this one. So if anybody has any desire to jump in and try that one too, just a slightly different structure, but same idea, you're welcome to try it. Otherwise, I'll see you next week and we'll finish this guy.
See you
All
next
right.
week.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Great work. Good to see you.
Bye.
Congratulations, Rebecca.
Bye.
That's such
Oh,
great news.
Thank you.
Such great news. Yes.